Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Cold War Independent Premium Tank Destroyer, the T100. Now this is an Egyptian variant of the T-34-85 where they added a big honking ugly looking turret, gave it a 100mm anti-tank gun and went, lol, let's have fun. And they've released it as a premium tank destroyer that you can get currently in the season pass at level 100. Now, I believe it's for free as well. It could even be just for the 2K season pass. It's a really solid tank destroyer. This 100mm tank destroyer gun is really, really good. The mobility on the tank is pretty solid. The armour on it is pretty non-existent, but it is a sort of long-range tank destroyer, so you shouldn't really be betting on it all that much. Although you can, because of the way that the T-34-85 chassis is, you can just ricochet shots here and there, just because of angles, right? In terms of this gun, it's really solid. It hits hard at 440. There's not many at this tier that do have that sort of damage. So it's quite nice because that means you averagely hit for about 400, let's be real, because Cold War RNG is just dreadful. You've got 302 pen on the standard AP, or APDS, which is really, really great. It means you never need to load premium rounds. It's got 370 heat pen, but I don't take any because, well, quite frankly, I never load them, and I will never use them. And to make the most money, you just may as well fire the standard round. 302 pen is enough for everything you're going to face, so, yeah, it'd be what it be. 80mm of HE pen as well, with 580 alpha, is really nice for taking out FE4005s and shooting the lightly armoured light tanks as well. It means you can hit for quite hard. 1400 meters a second on the standard shell velocity as well is really, really good. It's rare that you get it that good on the standard round on anything at Era 1 really, unless you're getting the top era tanks. Now, there is a problem with this tank, and that is the fact that it gets like 3.2 degrees of gun depression or something like that. The gun depression is really poor. You mainly have... It just means you have to place yourself in the correct positions to make the most out of the tank. It just takes a bit more intelligent positioning generally to get the most out of it, and realise that you're not going to be that good on the ridgeline, and try and make sure that you avoid those sorts of situations so that you can stick on sort of flatter areas. That's why maps like Mannheim, even though it's a dreadful map and I hate it, is a really good map for the T100 because a lot of it is flat, and if you keep yourself in the flat positions, you're not going to struggle with the gun depression at all. And yeah, the only real bad thing about this tank is that gun depression, because everything else about it is pretty solid, and I think it's a really solid tank to get from the season pass. So in terms of a crew on the T100, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanic, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Camouflage Expertise, and Silent Driving. Now, I run Silent Driving and Camouflage Expertise because the camo on this tank is pretty damn dirty. So, you know, Camouflage will make it so that this tank's camo is really good, and then the Silent Driving will mean that... well, it means that I won't lose as much camo while I'm driving the tank, pretty much. Which is also very, very helpful. In terms of equipment, I do run Rammer, Vert Stabs, and Optic. Rammer, Vert Stabs, and Camo Net, sorry. Rammer and Vert Stabs, because Vert Stabs I want to make the gun as good as possible, and 20% more accurate is always great. Rammer, because making the reload better is nice. The reload is a little bit long. And Camo Net, again, to make that still concealment as good as possible. I mean, you get it down to 157 with the way we've got it set up, which is ridiculous. It means that if you're playing that tank destroyer role and you're playing at a further distance, you can stay unspotted a lot of the time, which is definitely very, very nice for the tank. And if you run smoke as well instead of food, you get it down to like 127 or something along those lines, which is even better. But personally, 157 for me is good enough, and I wanted to just make sure that I can have the better gun stats with food, essentially. So far in this game on Mannheim, we've managed to get 5.2k damage and 491 assistance. We managed to decimate that poor Type 62 because we could just see him with true vision. Because that's the one thing you always want to do when you're moving into open positions like that. Scan the areas where you think people might be hiding to shoot your team, and you'll probably find someone. And that's what we did with that Type 62. We ended up finding him, who was sat there farming, and took most of his hit points, and we obviously managed to finish him off when he ran away. And now we're up to 6k damage. That T95E3 couldn't handle me and the other guy as well, which is decent. Now we've got this Bulldog, which is Mr. Pie and Mash from the Pleb Clan. And the Bulldog at Cold War Era 1 is an absolute nightmare of a tank, especially if they're wolf pack, because it's so damn quick, its gun is so well stabilised, and it fires very, very quickly. So you don't want to ever get isolated by one of those things. It's not going to go well. But right now, it's not attacking us, which is great. So we're just going to keep capitalising on that by shooting the Centurion 5-1, which is a pretty decent tank. And I'm just going to keep pumping shots into him. He pops smoke, which is decent. That means I'm not going to have to deal with that. And I'm just always keeping my focus on this M41A1, because obviously the moment he decides to attack, I want to be ready to shoot it. Which is what we do. We get a nice shot into him as he's running away, and he gets shut down by our T95E3. We're up to 7.8k damage, 889 assistance, and we're just looking for this Centurion 5-1. I'm just trying to see around the corner, see if he's there. But he has moved on there. We just caught a glimpse of him as he went between the buildings. And then we spot this T100, and it's like, well, hello, brother. I'm going to come after you now. And I'm hoping he's out in the open, and he is. Now, the one thing to note with this gun, make sure you're fully aimed, because otherwise it just does that all the time. And actually, that's not a thing for just this tank. That's an Era 1 problem in general. For some reason, shots love to go anywhere but where you're aimed in Era 1, and it's very, very annoying. And as you saw with that shot on that T100, it was like near enough the whole tank in the target, and it was like, I'm just going to go above it. Is what it is. We finished the game with 3 kills, 8.2k damage, 889 assistance, the ace tanker, 1615 base XP. Solid amount of credits as well for the T100. I mean, it is a Cold War premium tank. It does make solid amount of credits. I mean, that was without a credit booster. We made 315k silver. Means you're going to get a free Tank Destroyer that, well, just generally makes you incredible credits. Is what it is. So we're on to the second replay, and in the second replay we're on Desfault. And on Desfault, I do like to just go to the middle of the map. It's the same as it was when this map was in World War II, and it's even more effective in Cold War, because yes, obviously the middle of the map is decently open if you start taking positions to shoot people so that they can shoot and see you, but quite frankly, the middle of this map is incredibly powerful, because you can sit in it, take cover in lots of different positions, and you can see across, especially with true vision, you can see across the whole map. You can just pick out targets left, right, and centre. It's such a powerful position, so especially for a tank destroyer like the T100. You can just keep poking out, see where the enemy is, pop them, and because the camo on the T100 is so good as well, most of the time you're not going to get spotted, which means it's going to take them a little bit to find where you are with the true vision, and you can get 2, 3, 4 shots into them before they realise exactly where you are, pinpoint you, and shoot you, right? Which is fine. So we're going to go up here. We are in the platoon with Lee, and it's like, okay, we'll take the middle, and we'll start farming as they go along. But just as we're popping up, this FV107 is YOLOing about, as they do. And unfortunately, we just missed the shot on him, which is a shame. And he just gets out there before we manage to get another shot in. They tend to do that a lot, the FV107s and 101s. Same as the Bulldogs. They just YOLO about straight into your team, as you see in a light tank do at C2, and cause havoc, but then die, eventually. Yeah, YOLO light tanks. Doesn't change between any mode, except for they do it more often in this one. So we get a nice shot into the T-34 there, and I'm just scanning just to see if there's anyone moving along, and it's like, okay, there's a T-100 next to that T-34. I could shoot the T-34, but you know what, I'm just going to shoot the T-100 because he thinks it's safe, and it's a hard-hitting gun, and I don't want it to survive for that long. We get another shot into the T-34, though, and just as we're reloading, it's like, oh, there's an M103 and a T-44 that are just completely ignoring us. So me and Lee are going to turn to face it. At first it was like, okay, they're coming up, but we're going to ignore it because they might just stay there. But we didn't quite expect them to just full send straight into the middle. And fortunately enough, they ignored us, which is to their detriment. Unfortunately there, we end up bouncing, which is a really unfortunate moment there on that T-34, no, on the M103. And now Lee's engaged with the T-44, which he's going to do alright against because the T-44 is not very good. We managed to slap in the shot, help him out, and our friendly T-44A shuts it down. Now, I could go back and start shooting at C6, but there is tanks over here, and you're seeing the gun depression problem right there. Because of the way this side of the map is elevated and there's random bumps, a 3.5 degrees gun depression randomly could not help us actually get the gun on target on the M46A1. And I was going to try and keep shooting at the guys on the K-line, but Lee said, hey, there's loads of people over here that we need to get shooting. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to come join you. Why not? There's a Tyran 5SH that's currently trying to engage the hill and climb up. I have this wall between me and the guys on the C line, so I'm feeling slightly safer from those guys because they can't quite physically see me. They can shoot me through the walls because the walls are destructible, but you know what, I'm paying no heed to that. We're currently unspotted, so we get a nice shot into the T100, but unfortunately it only tracks him because the gun derps a little bit. But we know exactly where they are. So we're going to keep pumping shots into this T34 and T100 every time we reload. And because every time we're reloaded, we're actually unspotted every time. And there's actually stuff in the way that obscures the vision of both the T34 and the T100. So they will really struggle to keep seeing me. As you see, I can pop out unspotted, fire at them, not get spotted, and they are really struggling to see me. We get another shot into the T100. And he's now a one-shot for us. And I'm saying to Lee, hey, there's people on... There's a T-34 and T100 you could shoot. But they managed to get to safety, unfortunately. We're now going to try and use the accuracy of this gun, because it is down to like 0.21 with the way we've got it set up to try and hit that Tyran weak spot. But unfortunately, we don't quite catch it. Now, I'm looking at a shot at that guy, but it's just not going to happen with the gun depression. Unfortunately, the gun lets us down again on the M50 Sherman. It just flies so high and to the left. And I'm not liking this position currently. It's a bit awkward. They're all starting to shoot at us, and a lot of them are below where my gun depression is, which means that, yeah, I can't quite get shots at them, and that's really awkward. So I'm just looking again for more tanks, see if there's anyone hiding on the ridgeline, but I can't see them. So we're going to pull forward so we can try and get a shot at this T-34 or anything like that. But there is an M41 Bulldog over there. And it's like, well, you know what, Mr. Bulldog? I'm just going to get rid of you. Because of the camo, he's going to stay unspotted every time he fires. We see a shot fly from somewhere over there. Can't quite see where it's coming from. So we're just going to keep an eye on and see if this Bulldog just pokes out again. Unfortunately, the shot whiffs quite badly. But this Bulldog has pulled out. He thinks he's safe because he's unspotted. Well, no, sir. Mr. True Vision is here to save the day. We get another shot into him again, and it's like, is he going to do it again? Is he going to poke out again? Is he going to do it? Yeah, he does it. Unfortunately, it misses again. It's like, oh, come on, gun. Like, what are you doing? But he still sits there, even though he knows that there's someone shooting at him. Or he probably doesn't, to be honest. And we put him down to the point where he is a one-shot for us. We boost our reload with food, which makes our accuracy also better. And we were just waiting for it to poke out. But actually, this K-line really needs help. That medium tank, if you look at the map, is at J4. He should be out in the open for me to shoot. So we're going to see if we can get shots at this guy and help them out. So yeah, here's the M50. Look, he is out in the open. We get a shot into him and we set him on fire. And he's just getting beyond where I can shoot. So I'm like, should I go over this way? I'm like, no, you know what? I'm going to drop down, get a shot into this M50. And for all the shots that we missed earlier on, that were nearly fully aimed at people and nearly dead certs to hit, that one that was while my tank was falling down a cliff and full on the turn, slaps straight into the M50, because of course it does. But for some reason he's not paying attention to us, so we swivel around, get the shot into him and finish him off. We're now detected, so it's probably that Bulldog still in that position on that hill. And I decided, you know what, screw it, I'm going to try and get behind these two medium, or try and get to these two medium tanks that are in front of us at K3. It is team destruction, so we don't have to worry about base. But I want to get there and get the kills on these guys. So we're going to charge straight... We are full health. So we're going to charge straight forward and hopefully get straight into them. So here we go. It's an M46A1. As I say, the camo on this tank is ridiculous. He didn't see us until we fired at him. He's now a one-shot. He missed his shot and we shut him down. So we now got the M50 Sherman that's directly in front of us. Which I'm kind of sad that M50 Sherman didn't get the 105 like the Super Sherman generally can mount. It can either mount the same gun that it's got there or the 105 like the one that's in World War II. It's kind of sad when that came in. I wanted that to have the 105. It would be a nice gimmick. But it is what it is. It's a pretty easy target to take down as it is the entry level Era 1 tank. And I was thinking, has that tank gone to the left or has it gone to the right? So I'm looking this way and I'm just looking to see if I can see any sort of movement. I'm looking at it going, I don't see anything, and I probably would have done. I reckon he's managed to just evade us and go down the riverbed. That's probably what I would have done, to be honest. So, you know what, if that heavy tank's going that way, I'm going to go this way to see if I can find him. And there we go, we found the M50. Unfortunately, if we should have just aimed a little bit more, we would have penned that guy, but we missed. He managed to ricochet off us, that's what I'm talking about with the ricochet. But then we ricochet off him with 303 pen, or 302 pen, hello gun. We slapped the shot. I was trying to track and pen him there. Hit him for 349, as, like I say, with the RNG in Cold War, which is abysmal. Slap another shot in, 374. He manages to pen us that time. And we should finish him off with this shot, which we do. And finish the game with a very nice total for the T100 Tank Destroyer, which is a solid Independence Tank Destroyer Premium that everyone will be getting the Season Pass. We finished 4 kills, 8.6k damage, the Ace Tanker, 1749 base XP. A really nice game for a pretty good tank, and it will make a lot of credits. If you enjoy Cold War, you will probably enjoy this tank. You've just got to make the most of that 3 degrees gun depression and, you know, get used to it, essentially. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!